Greetings, peace and love, family. Can everybody see my screen right now that I'm sharing?
Yep.
Okay. All right. Greetings. Today is 7/7/2020. We're going to be going into the class today. I was just sharing with the ones who were online early what this class is going to be about, so I'm going to do a quick intro. I had the opportunity of talking to Chief this morning, and with the help and insight from brothers Mansa and Tank, I was able to gain some new knowledge and insight that I wanted to share with the class today. So that's what we're going to do now. I'm going to fast forward to the slides I'm going to be using today. And just a little background about the workshop. The name that I had chosen for the workshop was Uplifting the Forgotten Queen. The reason why I chose that name was because that is a book that I'm in the process of writing that goes along with this workshop. I called it Uplifting the Forgotten Queen because that's all that I had known up until this point, is that, you know, we were kings and queens. However, doing some research and what I'm going to share with you guys today let me know something different. And that's what I'm going to be starting to talk about right now today, is that we have to be able to expand our knowledge, and we have to be open-minded when we are learning different things. Hold on one second, guys. Hold on. I don't know how to get that off.
What are you referring to?
There's a can y'all see this slide? Do y'all see the whole slide? Because there was another audio thing that popped up. Or y'all just
We can see the slide just fine.
Okay. All right. So I'll just go on. It's probably just on my screen. So what I was saying is, anytime that you are learning, you're a student, you have to be open-minded. You have to be willing to have a teachable attitude, meaning that you have to really have open ears. You have to listen. You can't just think that you know everything all the time. I don't know everything. I strive to learn new things each and every day, because we don't even use 10% of our brain capacity. So imagine if we did use 100% of our brain cells to actually learn and absorb knowledge. I don't know if you guys ever saw that movie Lucy, but whenever she ingested some type of drug that made her brain capacity open up to 100%. And the things that she could do, the more turned on her brain got, was just out of this world. And that's how we could be. And that's how we should be. And that's what we're trying to get back to. So we always have to realize that we are all students in this planet. And this planet is our classroom. So we always have to know that we're constantly learning. And we also have to realize that we are not only students, but we're all teachers as well, because we can all teach somebody else something that we may know that they don't necessarily know. So it's interchangeable, especially on this platform. That's how I want it to be. I want everybody to feel interactive. I want everybody to not be afraid to add things in, to bring anything to the table that needs to be said, or any questions that you want to ask. I know in school my teacher used to say the only stupid question is the one you don't ask. So, you know, just keep that in mind. I'm not no scholar. I don't have no PhD or anything. I went to college, but you know, that's a secular education. But this is teaching and learning that I'm doing for myself, and that I'm trying to help other people expand their knowledge and gain knowledge from them as well. So that's what this platform for me is all about. So this slide right here is just saying the space. Like if you draw a circle with your hands. That small circle is a representation of the realm of my knowledge. So I know about whatever it is I think I know is depicted right here within this circle. I must keep in mind that there is more than what is within my circumference of awareness. Meaning there's a whole nother plethora of world realms of knowledge that we haven't even tapped into yet. And that's, a powerful statement. You have to be open-minded. You have to know that you don't know everything. Not right now. Don't know if we ever will in this form, but that's all I'm trying to say is everybody, we have to crave the knowledge of the truth. And we just have to really make sure that we do our personal research, and that is required for our personal growth. So you have to, don't take everybody else's research for your own. You have to say, okay, let me take notes on what this person is saying and let me go and verify for myself what this person is talking about. And once you realize or you verify for yourself, then okay. And if you accept it, if it resonates with you and you can back it up historically, accurately, or whatever, scientifically, however you can prove it, then hey, then you can accept it as the knowledge of the truth or whatever you're seeking. All right. So we have to unlearn and relearn. And that means that we have to forget everything that we've been taught. We have to erase our minds of things that we may have learned, even if it was in school, in college, university, whatever. A lot of things that we've been taught in Western culture is not accurate, or it has been told to us at a skewed vantage point, meaning that it's not a whole truth. It may be a partial truth, but it may not be the whole truth. So we have to make sure, like I said earlier, we do our due diligence, be open-minded, be teachable, and we have to say, okay, what I thought I knew or what I have been taught may not have been, what is right. So we have to be able to unlearn and relearn. This quote right here is from Pastor or Dr. Ray Hagan. He used to be a pastor, but he preached for almost 20 years. But once he realized that what he was preaching was not true and accurate and not helping his people, then he became like an Afrocentric teacher, and he started teaching ancient Egyptian, not artifacts. He started teaching like the ancient Egyptian history and things like that instead of preaching to his congregation about Jesus Christ and things like that. But I also have a slide on him, but I'll go into him another time. But I just like this quote where he said, as a teacher, my assignment is to begin the process of undoing or reversing ideas and concepts that have been programmed into the minds of our people, resulting in a psychosis that has caused us to lose contact with what is real, factual, historical, and spiritual. In other words, I am at a war with ignorance. So the first step to being wise is to first acknowledge the extent of your ignorance. So in this case, I'm accepting my ignorance in the fact that I didn't know the origin of the word queen and what it really stood for and where it came from. And that's where Mansa and Tank and ATUN-RE helped me to understand the origin of that word, and that not using it out of my ignorance, I was using it as I thought it was a term to mean that I was royalty, but in fact it means something else, and that's what I'm about to go into with you guys right now. So when I did my research, I went to the origin of the word queen, and it comes from Middle English or Old English. And if you can see on the screen, it has several different spellings for the word queen. Okay? Now, out of all these words, I highlighted the most important parts because I'm not about to read all this. So the word queen actually is a double entendre. And it says a fact which has probably contributed to the decline in the use of the word queen in modern times. So for everybody, this is your school for today. Your vocabulary word is double entendre. A double entendre is a word that can have multiple meanings, or just like I was talking about earlier, it could be a word that sounds the same but have a different spelling and have a totally different meaning. An example of a double entendre could be the word flour. In one instant, you have flour that you cook with, which is spelled Flour. You use it for cooking, for baking. That's flour. Then you have the other word flower, Flower, and that means a flower like a plant that blooms and blossoms. Those two words sound exactly alike, but they mean two totally different things. And that's what happened with the word queen here. And it goes on to say that, oops, I got to get used to this. Sorry, guys. It goes on to say that from the 11th century onward, queen, the Middle English descendant of Old English queen, was a woman, a female serf, and the ancestor of modern English queen is also used to mean a prostitute. So in the 16th and 17th centuries, the word was used almost solely to refer to prostitutes. And I got this out of several different dictionaries that I went and looked up the origin of the word. So when I saw that, it instantly a light bulb went off in my head and said, okay, that's another one of those word spells that we talked about. I don't know if anybody can remember from the last class when I was talking about the introduction to my book and the blog that Tank put on the website, speaking about the word black being used as a word spell against the whole ethnicity of people to describe people of melanated, ancestry or melanated heritage. And that word black, when you break it down, it means to be lacking. And that word being used to describe us as a people is why we have been lacking for centuries. And it's hard for us to get our solid foundation because we keep describing ourselves as black people. And we keep accepting other people calling us black people. So that was another thing that we have to start breaking these word spells that have been placed on us. And for the women, it's especially important to understand that we need to know the origin of what we are calling ourselves, because if we think we're uplifting ourselves when really we're tearing ourselves down and we don't even know it. So I thought that was very interesting, and I do want to send appreciation to Manta, Tank, and especially ATUN-RE for bringing me that new light. And anytime that I get new knowledge or new understanding, I'm going to share it with you guys as well. So that's what I found out about the origin of the word queen, and that's why I want to change the topic of, or the title of my workshop. So I went online also and did some other image searches for the word queen. And it came up, of course, with Queen Elizabeth and, the old school Queen Elizabeth. I don't know who these people are. But another thing that I found interesting is that in the gay community, the men that dress up as women, that get it dressed in drag, they call themselves queens. And I never really put two and two together until I did this presentation or this slide right here, because I'm like, man, I don't want to make myself synonymous with somebody, that's mocking or diminishing the divine feminine energy, because that's what I am. You know what I'm saying? So I don't want to be walking in the same light as somebody that's a man pretending to be a woman and calling themselves a queen, because I have to look at myself in a higher esteem. All of my sisters do. And that's why I put this slide together to show the difference. So the Empress and the Goddess is what the melanated women should refer to themselves as. And that's what we were. And that's what we are inside. We are all our ancestors. So we're still that. And we just have to get back to believing in ourselves up to build our confidence up in that again. And that's what I want this workshop to be about. So I'm gonna go back. I think that's all I have for this. If anybody has any questions, suggestions, or anything else they want to ask about this topic.
Yes, I have a question I want to ask. When you say the two other words like goddess and empress, like, how would you like use it, like referring to, you know what I'm saying, my lady, like you're my goddess, or like could you use it as a title, like Mrs., like when it comes to empress, like Empress Kourtney, or how would you like just commonly use that term? You know what I'm saying? Without giving it context. You know what I'm saying? Without saying it wrong. You know?
Yeah, I got you. Well, that's something I'm still learning and finding out about, researching myself. Like I said, this you guys just helped me realize this like the last few days. So I don't really know. I think what the problem is that we've become so accustomed to hearing queen, or referring to each other as kings and queens, and referring to like you might call your lady, like that's my queen right there. We've become so accustomed to just using the words that we've been given without doing our background research on the origin of where these words come from and what's the true meaning behind them. And it's going to take work because, like I said, we have to unlearn and relearn, how to use these terms. And we don't want to, offend anyone or, be using them in the wrong context. So that is something that I could find out more about and get back to you on that, because I don't want to tell you something wrong. Because, like I said, I'm still learning about this too, unless Taint has more insight on that.
Well, reason I'm asking, let's say like, I got a female friend that, what I'm saying, we've just been kind of talking for roughly about 3 or 4 months now. And when you got a fresh relationship and you say, hey, you my goddess. I mean, you tell a woman, if not you tell a man he's your God, then, their head gonna go on swole.
Yeah.
Man, like you my God, it'd be like, wow. It'd be like, girl, man, that nigga called me his goddess.
I got you.
Man,
Yeah.
to definitely show appreciation for, some our Nubian sisters, out there. At the same time, you don't want to go overboard, but
yeah,
I would want to go overboard because, like, hey, lady, you're a goddess. You're a ruler. You know what I'm saying? Your DNA is so divine.
Yeah.
I don't mind saying that, but at the same time, I don't want somebody to just take, because people will take it like, man, he worships the ground I walk on. Man.
No, we don't want you to get taken advantage of.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying?
I think
so how can you temper it down?
Okay.
Or do we need to temper it down, or do we need we just need to be real, like, no matter what the level of our interaction or our relationship, in my eyes, as a Nubian sister, I look at you as you're a goddess.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Well, I'm gonna tell you from my
I mean,
perspective.
I can feel that. I can roll with it. I roll with it.
Yeah, but from my perspective as a woman, this is just my opinion as a woman. If you say you've only been talking for like a few months, right?
Yeah.
It's like a newer relationship. So you don't want to scare people off and you don't want to, come on too strong or whatever as in a new relationship or somebody you're getting to know. But I do think that if this is somebody you want to continue on with and be real with, you should um, use it as like a teachable moment, but kind of be kind of sexy with it. Be like, yeah, girl, say, I know you think you a queen, but you more than a queen. You a goddess, and let me tell you why. And then you can kind of break down, a little bit, kind of like giving her knowledge, but it's kind of like pillow talk at the same time. I think that would be like a good way to kind of break the ice with that, so she'll know going forward, like, okay, he calling me this, but he explained to me the reason why and behind why he's doing it, so that their mind won't go to thinking like, oh, I can just run over him. He'll do whatever I say. To me, I think that'll be a better approach to be like, hey, this is why I don't like to use the word queen. You know what I'm saying? And that'll be something that you guys can share together as a couple. And she'd be like, man, he taught me something that I never heard of before. So, and it'll be like a bonding experience. So I think that'll be a good way to kind of transition into using that term.
Okay. One more question to add to it. Why are Nubian sisters goddesses?
You said why?
Yeah. I mean, like what makes a Nubian sister a goddess?
I feel like being a goddess, that's just like, I don't want to get into all that right now, but like they say, the black man is God. But like to me, I feel like we're goddesses because we are the original woman, the one who was first chosen to be placed on the earth to populate the earth. So I feel like the goddess term is one that we should feel like um, that is something that embodies just our being, just our DNA, being able to reproduce any color person on the planet, on the face of the earth. Just in your so many scientific things in the female body that we haven't even tapped into yet, that gives you divine qualities. This divine feminine quality that we all have, that we have to all get back to and tap back into. So for me personally, when I think of a goddess, I'm not thinking of a god-like person. I'm thinking of somebody, a human, that carries themselves in a god-like manner. I hope that was a good explanation.
I mean, yeah. I mean, it's good. It's something I can definitely start with, and add more to it. As I start to ponder over it.
Yeah, yeah. And like I said, I got more research and stuff to do as well. I just put this together in the last few days, so I'm definitely gonna still be adding on to that.
Cool. Have you ever heard of the Egyptian goddess Maat?
Yes, yes, I know my
And Nun?
none. Yeah, Met.
Cool.
hmm I'm still learning.
Cool.
I don't know if anybody else knows my background. I'll say a little bit about myself. I'm new to the OSOICE network family, but my awakening started in 2011 when I lost my father, and watching him transition from this life into his next life, or whatever happens when we die. opened my eyes to the fact that there was more going on in the world around me and beyond than what I had been told. I grew up in a very religious family. I had a very religious, strict background growing up. And by the time, I got out of high school and was a freshman in college, I had my first son because I was just buck wild because I had been held down for so long as a young girl. So by the time I got to college, I was just wide open. So I had my two sons. By the time I was 22, I had two kids, and I was a single mom, and it was hard as hell. But I raised my boys. I raised them up, and I was thinking that I was doing it the proper way by bringing, taking them to church and trying to keep them in the religion. But for me, religion always felt like I was trying to stick a square peg in a round hole. And I always would get down on myself because I felt like, man, why can't I get myself together? Why can't I do what's right? Because I'm thinking what's right is living your life by the Bible. But once I found spirituality, that is what opened my eyes and changed my life for the better. And in 2015 is when I really began my research and my awakening journey to find what resonated with my soul and my spirit. Because listening to myself say this now, I would have never said this like 10 years ago, but religion never resonated with me spiritually. It was just something that I did because that was what my family wanted me to do, so to speak. And I thought that that was what I had to do, to live a good life or a right life or be righteous. But it did not fit well with me because it wasn't speaking to my spirit. But once I started researching, even in researching the Bible says prove all things. So my awakening started with trying to find the origin of religion, trying to find the origin of, these people that I was following that was ruling my life, people that I had never met, but they were like these high pastors, preachers, or whatever you want to call them. And they were dictating everything that was done in my life, but they didn't even know who I was. So I'm like, why am I listening to people that don't even know me personally? So once I started doing my own spirituality journey and my awakening, then that's when I started to find all the answers that I have been looking for my whole life. And it's just been wonderful ever since. And that's why I say I'm learning every day. I want to keep learning. And I don't know everything, but I'm a damn sure try to absorb as much as I can. You know what I'm saying, and share as much as I can. So that's a little bit about my background and how I became, oriented in this world. And once I started seeking my spiritual growth and not religious growth, that's when things started manifesting in my life. That's when I met Tank, and that's when I met other people that helped me to find out who I really was, the real inner me, the real person that I really was all this time that I was suppressing. So that's my background and how I started on my journey. When did y'all start y'all awakening?
Yeah, I know. Well, for me, um, I was raised in like a Christian home with my grandparents, and I had my my grandparents and my great grandmother were very much into church, and they kept me going to church, for a long time. So I feel now that I'm going through this experience, I'm feeling like the elders and Yahshua, or ATUN-RE, they was there back in them days. Because as I contemplate over it, when we say God is anyone in control of other beings or other things, if you go back to the point when you're a baby and you start to grow up into this world and, you could barely do a lot of things for yourself, at that time, you must honestly say that you don't have a lot of control when it comes to what's going on in your environment. You know what I'm saying? Like you do when you become an adult. It's a totally different dynamic. Like at the time when you're born, and you have your family and your parents that's responsible for you. Like your complete trust is in them, and it's in the etheric ties that you have to your etheric family to make sure that you're going to be guided and protected. But really, as a young child, you really can't do much for yourself. You know what I'm saying? Except cry. You know, you can cry a whole lot, and you can laugh and smile. But other than that, you know what I'm saying? You can't feed yourself. You know what I mean? You can't do a lot of things that, you know, now as adults, we look at our responsibilities and we think we're doing so much in the sense of control. But when you go back to that origin of all of us, you know what I mean? Think about how much the physical, the lower us, didn't have no control. You know what I'm saying? And that makes you pay more attention to, at that time, your higher self and the ability of your higher self. You know what I'm saying? What was your higher self in control of at that time when you was born? You know what I'm saying? Well, how was your higher self connected with your etheric family? You know what I'm saying? All that stuff became a mystery when we started to, you know, live our life. But I was just saying, going back to my family situation, growing up, Yahshua in the church, I always felt like a connection, you know what I'm saying? Because I was like, I see all these people, like they dedicating their life to this being, you know what I'm saying? And I knew there was something there. And growing up as a child, I started as a pianist in the church. And then I, you know, went to another church. So I was playing for two different churches. And I really loved playing music for people, you know what I'm saying? Especially in that environment, because it's sort of like you're able to touch people's soul with sound and tones, you know what I'm saying? So I was very much into that. And at the time when I started to become more conscious and enlightened of myself, I had to make the decision that I had to cut church off because of, you know, pretty much the origins of it and what it's really about. But that the love of the music, the tones, the sound, and the energy, giving homage to Yahshua, all that was real and connected. And as I am in the OSOICE now, I see that ATUN-RE was there at that time when I was a young child, and I didn't really have too much control. You know what I'm saying? So this connection is that the Ethereans have with us. This has been going on prior to we came here. We don't realize that they're a part of our lives and very much connected to us all the time. You know what I mean? And it's like in the physical world, it's focusing on singularity and individuality. In the spiritual world, it's like more of a collective. There's less of an individuality. You know what I'm saying? It's more of a etheric collective, you know, and trying to overstand that, you know, you have to start raising back into the kind of energy you was prior to coming here, because it's like we're not really learning anything. We're just remembering, and everything that's being presented to us are remembering tools, because we are beings we're really, like as ATUN-RE said, you take one being away from the all and the all is naught. You know what I'm saying? So we're significant in the sense that, you know, you can't take nothing out of the all. You know, we are part of this forever. So it's a beautiful journey that I feel like the Ethereans have been walking with me since day one. You know what I'm saying? And at one time I had sort of, after my grandparents had passed, I had sort of hit a low depressed state. And I sort of jumped off the edge, because I was saying to myself, well, if I'm all, right, and all is me, then I should be, you know, like it says in the Holy Tablets, it says you should be absolutely fearless, right? So I took that mentality, and out of a situation that occurred in my home, I had left, you know, because of things that was going on, and I became homeless. And I was homeless for about, I would say about 10 years, right? From, you know, place to place, from state to state, you know. And that was a brand new experience for me. But the reason I did it was because I was saying, you know what? If I'm going to be here, if I'm supposed to be here, then I'll be all right. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, shit, I'll be good. You know what I mean? And if I'm not supposed to be here, then I'm ready to go. It's time to go. So that was my attitude. And when I stepped out on that ledge, you know what I'm saying, I was always provided with what I needed the whole way through. That's a fact. You know what I'm saying? I never ate out no garbage cans. You know what I'm saying? I never got degraded to the point where I started to, you know what I'm saying, just do all kind of my connection with my source, the source I come from. You feel what I'm saying? Like, it was a personal journey that I took that helped me, you know, beyond words can express, because it confirmed for me that I am good. You know what I'm saying? Like, you are good. Like, that, it's like jumping out of a plane and you like, all right, well, God, if you got me, catch me. You know what I'm saying? If you got me, catch me. And that's exactly what I did. So that's just, you know, that's just a short version of my story, but that's what I wanted to share because I feel like it has me at that place now. That's where I'm at right now. If you ask me who I am, I'm in this place of absolute fearlessness. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's no time to be scared of nothing. You know what I mean? And if there is any kind of fears that try to creep into my mind by any way, you know what I'm saying, I got to shut it down. You know what I'm saying? So this is my being, and as ATUN-RE is now we have a connection, and I'm physically connected to him. He's teaching me personally how to manifest the divine love within me, and how to move as a selfless being. You know what I'm saying, and personify as divine love. So that is like that's like I was saying prior. That's the greatest experience a person can have. You know what I mean? Like, when I look on my life, this is an honor and it's a blessing. You know what I'm saying? To being taught, you know, how to be the personification of divine love. You know what I mean? Like, there's nothing greater than that. You know what I mean? So I just stay humble, and I stay in prayer. I stay prayed up. You know what I'm saying? Keep the prayers going out, and I do my best to stay in tune with the Most High in me, because the Most High is everywhere. You know what I'm saying? And the Most High is definitely in me. So it only makes sense to get in tune with the Most High in you. Because think about it. If you got the Most High inside of you, why are you going to run away from that? You know what I mean? Like, that's what you should be every day. You should be waking up. Like, how can I get more in tune with this Most High in me? What I got to do to, that's what I be doing. That's my vibe. You know what I'm saying? Because in the book, Your Potential, Dr. York, he said, the Most High is in you and is you. You see what I'm saying? That's documented facts right there. So if the Most High is in me, I'm saying what I got to do. You know what I'm saying? Like, and what ATUN-RE is bringing to me, he's teaching me that to get in tune with the Most High, I have to get into selflessness. I gotta, you know what I mean, do whatever I can more and more every day to get rid of ego. Like, let go of this ego. You know what I'm saying? Like, the truth has no self. Truth is selfless. You know what I mean? So that's the time I'm on right now. You know what I mean? I'm in that zone. Like, truth is selfless. So it's the more and more I can eradicate this false ego, you know what I mean, this false identity, and stay in tune with the Most High in me, because the Most High in me is the true identity. If I remove this false ego and get away from this and throw this in the garbage, I could just stay totally in tune with the Most High in me. And that's what the Most High want me to do, and that's what I want to do. So that's what we are. You know what I'm saying? So that's what I wanted to share. You know what I'm saying?
All right. Thank you. Well, I like what you were saying. That remind me of a quote about being fearless. It says, once you become fearless, life becomes limitless. So that was something that I had to let go of, that fear of, like, when my dad passed away, I don't fear death anymore, because when I saw him transition, he had a smile on his face, and this man was full of cancer. It was in his bones, and he had lived. I love my daddy to death, but my dad was not really in my life like that. We got close towards the end when he was sick. And I always knew my dad loved me, but my dad was a Vietnam vet, so he had went overseas and did some things that messed him up mentally. So, you know, he came back, he was addicted to alcohol and drugs, but he was a good-hearted person. He just never could get himself back right, you know, when he came back home. So, to see him, you know, he lived his life for him. He did what he wanted to do. It didn't matter to him about me or nobody else. He did what he wanted to do. And I always, you know, my parents, or not my parents, but like my grandparents and my aunts, uncles, and all that always taught me, you know, that when you live a bad life, you go into hell or whatever. So I thought, you know, he's going to go to hell because that's what I had been taught all that time. But when I saw him with a smile on his face and he was at peace, his soul, his spirit, I knew was at peace. And then I had another experience after he passed away to let me know that your spirit does not die. You are on a different plane of existence. Because after my dad passed, I was distraught for like a few days until right before his funeral. He came to me in a dream, and this dream was so real, but it was like almost like a memory. But you know, when you were a baby, you can't really remember too much from when you were a small, like a little infant. But this dream, I swear, was just like it was a memory from my childhood because he was holding me as a baby. I could see my hands, like I could see my dad as a younger man. He always had this big handlebar mustache. But when I went up to touch his mustache and I looked at my hand was like a fat baby hand. Like I knew I was a little baby. I could see my feet, like little baby feet. And I couldn't talk. I could hear my voice, but it was a baby, like, you know, just a baby cooing and gargling or whatever, baby talk. And he was holding me in his arms and he said, "I'm all right." He said, "Don't worry about me, baby." He said, "I'm good." He was like, "Live your life." That's what he told me. And once that happened, I never feared death again at all because he let me know in that dream, memory, whatever it was, that it's gonna be all right, no matter what.
Mm.
So that right there is what really made me go into, and there was a lot of stuff that was weird that was happening as he was transiting. Like he was in hospice for like 3 days, and outside of his room, there was a bunch of cats that came and they sat outside of his room until he passed away. And I asked the nurse, I said, "Where are all these cats over here?" Because I don't really like cats. And she said, "Oh, they do that every time she said, that's how we know who's going to be passing. Because they go to each person's window. Because it's like a sliding door, like a patio door. And she was like, they go to every, you know, the person who's passing away next, they'll start congregating outside of the door." So that right there let me know, you know, that there's so much more that we're in connection with the animals, just a lot. There's a lot of stuff. And that's what really started me on my journey to learn all of this stuff and to understand better what's going on.
Thank you, Shane. Yeah, who?
I remember in a tape, Baba was talking about, you know, getting born again. You know, also ATUN-RE has a born again tape. At the same time, he was saying that, you know, starting all over at that baby position, you know what I'm saying? It sounds like that's when you were born again, you know what I'm saying, on your new journey to start to relearn and, you know, reinstill right knowledge, you know what I'm saying? That's what it sounds like to me.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
Yeah, we all got to be like sponges. We got to soak up as much as we can, and then we got to share as much knowledge as we can with one another. And do you guys know that there's like in our DNA, there's like it's equivalent to, I would say, like a place where in your computer you would put like an external, like a USB drive. So our DNA has like a DNA unfinished strand of DNA. And some people call it junk DNA, but I like to think that that is where the creator will inject our upgrade, so to speak. So that DNA that we have, that the scientists in this world can't figure out what it's for, the creator didn't put it there for no reason. I think that's for an upgrade. So once we get to a certain level in this plane of existence, then we'll get upgraded. Then we'll get our, new abilities or whatever, it's supposed to be. But I think that DNA is for us to get new knowledge, because a lot of things right now would blow our minds if we tried to go too deep in it. But once we are upgraded and we get that new download and upgrade, then, I think that's when we'll be able to go back to how things were when they were building the pyramids. We'll be able to move things with our mind. We'll be able to communicate telepathically, and we'll just have like X-Men type abilities. So I think, that's something interesting that you guys can research as well. Any other questions? Or anybody want to share anything?
Can anybody hear me? Testing. This Tank.
Hey.
Yep.
I hear you.
Cool. Yeah, thank you for sharing. That was interesting perspectives, and viewpoints, and then your presentation was wonderful. So thank you for sharing with the family.
Thank you guys for listening.
Cool.
Yeah, thank you, brother.
Yeah, it's coming right back in an hour. So Kourtney, you want to have any closing statements, or ask audience if you want to answer any questions and close out?
Okay. Yeah. I just want to say thank you again to Tank and Mansa for helping me to realize something new, especially about the word queen. I just want to make sure that I represent the OSOICE network to the highest and fullest potential. And that's what I had the opportunity to talk to ATUN-RE about this morning. I want to make sure that if I'm representing the OSOICE family, that I'm doing it in a proper way. And I want to make sure that I'm in accordance and online and on point with everything across the board that everybody else is. So anytime that I get new information or I learn something new, I want to definitely spread it out and share it with you guys. But you guys are awesome. I just really appreciate the platform. I want to commend Tank for all his hard work, especially with the website and the apps and, hosting the workshops. And you guys are doing an awesome, awesome job. And I'm just glad to be a part of it. And I just can't wait to see where we're going to go in the future.
Cool. Well, that concludes today's workshop. Well, thank everybody for joining us. Please be sure to check out our website at osoice.org. Workshops are held every Tuesday and Thursday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Please join and share and bring family and friends. Thank you for your time. Shout out to our chief, ATUN-RE. Love you much. We're going to make you proud. Thank you for your lessons. Thank you, Elder. Shaddah Da.
Shaddah Da Family. Peace and love.